Venus in the 11th house. Friendship and future. Welcome to Venus in the 11th house in Synastry. In this overlay, we explore what happens when one person's Venus falls into another person's 11th house. The house of friendship, community, shared ideals, collective belonging, and the hopes one holds for the future. This is among the most socially comfortable of all the Venus overlays. It has a quality of ease and equality that is distinct from more vertically oriented placements. None of the intensity of the 8th, none of the weight of the 10th, none of the psychological complexity of the 12th. There is genuine warmth here, and real affection, but it is the warmth of friendship, which is both its most enduring gift and, at times, its most honest limitation. The 11th house governs our relationship to the collective, our friend groups, our communities, our sense of belonging to something larger than the purely personal. It is also the house of hopes, the visions we hold for the future, the ideals we wish to live out in the world rather than merely contemplate. It is, in this sense, the house of what we are reaching toward together. When Venus falls here, she is received not as a lover entering private space, but as a friend arriving naturally into the house person's wider social world. Someone who fits, who belongs, who seems to understand instinctively how to move within the circles the house person values most. From the Venus person's perspective, the house person is someone they genuinely like. Not only love in the romantic or charged sense, but like as a person, as a companion, as someone whose presence in a room makes the room better. The Venus person may feel a real alignment with the house person's values, their community involvement, their sense of what matters in the broader social world. There is an ease in simply being around the house person that does not require effort or performance to sustain. From the house person's perspective, the Venus person slots into their social world with a naturalness that can feel almost uncanny. They get along easily with the house person's friends. They share or genuinely respect the house person's ideals, and they bring a quality of beauty and harmony to the house person's collective life. The house person may find that the Venus person makes their social world feel more alive, more cohesive, more worth belonging to, simply by being part of it. At its warmest, this overlay creates a relationship with a strong and durable foundation of friendship. The two people genuinely enjoy one another, not only in private or in the charged atmosphere of romantic encounter, but in the ordinary fabric of shared social life. There is a quality of equality and mutual respect that tends to sustain this connection over time, a sense that at the most fundamental level these two people are, before anything else, companions. That is not a small thing. Many relationships that begin with intensity eventually need to arrive at exactly this, and here it is already present from the start. This overlay also supports collaborative ventures and shared social engagement in a way that few others do as naturally. Venus in the 11th can produce genuinely beautiful creative partnerships, community endeavors, or advocacy built around something both people care about. The relationship has an outward-facing quality. It contributes to something beyond itself, and both people are likely to feel that what they are building together has a value that extends into the wider world. Traditional astrology offers a useful perspective here. The 11th house is a succedent house, associated in Hellenistic tradition with good spirit. It was considered one of the more fortunate houses, associated with gifts from friends, alliances, and the fulfillment of hopes. It was also the house of the joy of Jupiter, the planet of abundance and beneficence. Venus, herself a benefic, placed in a house traditionally associated with good fortune and Jupiterian generosity, operates in terrain that is broadly sympathetic to her nature. She is a social planet, and the 11th house is fundamentally social terrain. In this sense, there is a genuine resonance between planet and house that is worth acknowledging. And yet, traditional practice would also note that the 11th house, while fortunate, is not intimate. Its associations are with the group, the alliance, the collective, not with the singular closeness of the 1st, 5th, or 7th house overlays. A Venus placed here by another person's chart brings her gifts of affection and harmony into a house that distributes those gifts outward, into community and shared endeavor, rather than concentrating them in the close interior of a dyadic relationship. This is meaningful. It does not diminish the overlay, but it clarifies its nature. What Venus does well in the 11th house is create belonging. What she does less naturally here is create the kind of sealed, concentrated intimacy that other placements produce. This is the shadow dynamic most worth naming honestly. The 11th house overlay creates friendship more readily than it creates romantic passion or emotional depth. There is ease here, genuine, sustaining ease. But ease is not always the same as intimacy, and the two should not be confused. If the romantic and emotional dimensions of the relationship are not supported by other overlays in the synastry, this placement can produce a connection that remains at the level of beloved companionship, rather than arriving at the more demanding terrain of deep relational knowing. The house person may find over time that the Venus person, while genuinely warm and caring, maintains a certain social lightness, a preference for the expansive warmth of group belonging over the more concentrated and sometimes uncomfortable closeness of sustained one-on-one emotional depth. The Venus person's affection in this overlay can feel somewhat distributed. They love the house person as part of a broader appreciation for the people, communities, and shared values that surround them both. That love is real, but it is oriented outward as much as inward. There is also the question of idealism. The 11th house holds our hopes, not the intimate longings of the 8th or the domestic security of the 4th, but the larger visions we carry for what life could become. When Venus falls here, both people may invest the relationship with an idealistic quality, seeing each other through the lens of shared possibility rather than fully engaging with who they are in their present, ordinary, sometimes unglamorous reality. Hope is not a flaw. It is one of the more beautiful things two people can share. But hope that does not return to the present eventually loses its grounding, and a relationship needs both vision and presence to remain alive. At its highest expression, this overlay creates a relationship of genuine mutual regard and shared purpose, a love built on liking, on equality, and on the real pleasure of building something together in the world that neither person could have built alone. The Venus person enriches the house person's collective life and social world, bringing beauty and harmony to the circles the house person values most. The house person gives the Venus person a vision worth loving, a sense that their affection is pointed towards something meaningful, something larger than the merely personal. When balanced, Venus in the 11th house creates friendship, social ease, shared ideals, and a love rooted in the rare and sustaining quality of genuinely liking the person you love. When imbalanced, it can remain at the level of companionship without intimacy, or sustain itself on shared vision while quietly avoiding the closer, more demanding terrain of true emotional presence. At its core, this overlay is about the gift of real friendship within love, and the quiet discovery that being truly liked by someone who also loves you is one of the most sustaining and underrated experiences a relationship can offer.
This was Venus in the 11th house in Synastry Overlays. Thank you for listening. Next, Venus in the 12th house.